It's December 10th, 2022. Al Thumama Stadium, Doha, Qatar. 90,000 people. It feels like the whole continent of Africa is packed into that bowl of white concrete. Cristiano Ronaldo, 5-time Ballon d'Or winner, arguably the greatest player to ever pull on a pair of boots, is standing in the tunnel. In a few minutes, he will walk onto that pitch believing this is his moment. Portugal are favorites. Morocco are the underdogs. The story writes itself. And then something happens that no one, not the bookmakers, not the pundits, not even the most devout Moroccan fan, could have scripted. 4th minute of the second half, a long ball floats into the box. It hangs in the air like a held breath. And then, in a moment of absolute, jaw-dropping brilliance, Youssef En-Nesyri launches himself. Not a jump, a flight. He rises so high above the Portuguese defense that it defies physics, defies gravity, defies the very logic of the game. His header rockets into the net. 1-0 to Morocco. The stadium erupts. The Moroccan fans, a sea of red and green, wave their flags and scream into the Qatari night. Ronaldo tries. Portugal push. They never find a way through. And when the final whistle blows, and Morocco have knocked out one of the tournament favorites and reached the semifinals of the FIFA World Cup, the first African nation, the first Arab nation to ever reach that stage, those fans do something that will live forever on the internet. They call their mothers, thousands of them, grown men in tears, phones in hand, FaceTiming back home to Casablanca, Marrakesh, Rabat, crying and laughing at the same time, unable to believe what they'd just witnessed. That moment, that single beautiful, collective act of phoning home in joy, told you everything you needed to know about what football means to Morocco. This is their story. Welcome to Homeland, the series profiling all 48 nations competing at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. I'm so glad you're here. Today we're talking about Morocco, the Atlas Lions, the jewel of North African football, a nation that spent 50 years being told they were a nice story and then, in Qatar in 2022, rewrote the entire narrative of what African football can achieve. They come to 2026 as AFCON champions, World Cup semifinalists, and perhaps the most cohesive, purposeful footballing nation on the planet right now. They have a head coach who understands the soul of the game. They have players forged in the academies of Europe's best clubs, and they have passion, the kind that makes grown men call their mothers from the stands. Here's what we're going to cover. Where Morocco stands right now, how they qualified, their extraordinary history at the World Cup, the legends who built this program, their cultural footprint on global football, and what you absolutely cannot miss when they take the field in the United States this summer. Let's go. Let me paint you a picture of Morocco's football program in the summer of 2026. It is humming, not quietly either. This is a freight train. Since Walid Regragui took the helm in 2022, days before the World Cup began, one of the most audacious coaching appointments in tournament history, he has transformed Morocco from a promising team into a cohesive, battle-hardened footballing machine. And 2026 arrives with them at perhaps the peak of that project. The World Cup qualification campaign tells the story. In CAF's third round, Morocco were placed in a group with Tanzania, Zambia, Congo, and Niger. They went 8 from 8, not a single defeat, not a single draw, 24 goals scored, 5 conceded, a goal difference of +19 in qualifying group play. That's not a football team, that's a statement. But here's what makes this even more remarkable. Qualifying was almost a sideshow. In January 2026, Morocco hosted the Africa Cup of Nations, AFCON 2025, staged on Moroccan soil with the eyes of a continent watching. They played in front of their own supporters at the Stade de Marrakesh, the Grand Stade de Casablanca, and the Stade Moulay Abdallah in Rabat. And they delivered. They won it. They beat Nigeria on penalties in the semifinal, then dismantled a star-studded Senegal side 3-0 in the final. AFCON champions at home as hosts. They arrive at the 2026 World Cup as African champions and semi-finalists from the last edition. That's not a rebuild. That's a dynasty in the making. The tactical blueprint Walid Regragui has built Morocco around defensive solidity and explosive transition. This team can suffocate you. They are compact and disciplined out of possession. No gaps, no space, wave after wave of pressure-resistant shape. And then, the moment they win the ball back, they are electric. Fast wide players, dynamic attacking midfielders, and a striker who can make something from nothing. The spine of the team is genuinely world-class. At right back, Achraf Hakimi remains one of the best fullbacks on the planet. A man who has won league titles with PSG and Inter Milan and brings that elite club mentality to every international he plays. In central midfield, Azzedine Ounahi, the engine Regragui relies on to control tempo, has matured into a complete midfielder since his breakthrough in Qatar. And up front, Youssef En-Nesyri is the physical threat, the aerial presence, the man who haunts defenders when those long balls come in. Brahim Diaz, the Real Madrid creative force with Moroccan heritage, has become central to how Morocco unlock deep defenses. And Ayoub El-Kaabi, the Atlas Lions' top scorer in recent years with 7 goals since 2022, gives Regragui a second attacking option of genuine quality. Hakim Ziyech continues to be the maverick wildcard, the player capable of producing a moment of individual brilliance from nothing. Morocco were placed in Group F alongside Brazil, Scotland, and Haiti. That is a group with narrative written all over it. Their opener, June 13th at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, is Morocco versus Brazil, one of the first games of the entire tournament. A heavyweight clash between two of the world's most naturally gifted footballing nations. Morocco have actually played Brazil as a pre-tournament warm-up in June 2026, a 1-1 draw in Norway, showing they are more than capable of competing at that level. Beat Brazil in Game 1, and Morocco's path to the knockouts is clear. Scotland and Haiti are winnable games on paper. But this Atlas Lions side isn't thinking about merely qualifying from the group. They've got their eyes on another deep run. Realistic ceiling? Let's say it plainly. Morocco are genuine quarterfinal contenders, and with a favorable draw, a semifinal is absolutely within reach. They've been there before. They know the route. To understand Morocco's football story, you need to go back to 1955. That was the year the Royal Moroccan Football Federation was founded, and it happened in the context of one of the most significant political moments in the country's history. Morocco was on the cusp of independence from French and Spanish colonial rule, which came in 1956. Football didn't just grow alongside nationhood, it became part of nationhood. The first Moroccan national team internationals began in 1957. By 1960, they were already competing in FIFA World Cup qualification. Picture the ambition of that, a brand new independent nation, and within 3 years they are dreaming of the biggest tournament on earth. The road to their first World Cup was long, 12 years of qualification campaigns, close calls, playoff heartbreaks. But in 1970, Morocco made it. They became the first African nation to qualify for the FIFA World Cup from the African Confederation. Think about that for a moment. The first African nation, Mexico 1970. Morocco are placed in Group 4 alongside West Germany, Peru, and Bulgaria. Their debut match comes against the powerful West Germans. In the 21st minute, and this detail matters, HOMELANDai scores. Morocco lead Germany at a World Cup. The stadium in Lyon is stunned. The final score goes against them 2-1, but they had been there. They had competed. They drew with Bulgaria 1-1 in the final group game. They finished third. They went home. But something had been lit. The long wait and the 1986 miracle 16 years pass. Qualification campaigns come and go. Morocco qualifying and then withdrawing in 1974 over a dispute with CAF's allocation. More near misses. And then, Mexico 1986. This is the chapter that every Moroccan fan knows by heart. Group F. Morocco are drawn with England, Poland, and Portugal. Nobody outside North Africa gives them a prayer. England have Brian Robson, Ray Wilkins, Gary Lineker. Portugal are a decent side. Poland aren't a pushover. Morocco, in the eyes of most neutrals, are there to make up the numbers. Match 1. Morocco 0-0 Poland. Respectable, fine. Match 2. Morocco 0-0 England. And here, something changes in the watching world's perception. England, with that lineup, cannot score against these North Africans. The draw is Morocco's second consecutive clean sheet. People are starting to pay attention. Match 3. Portugal 1-3 Morocco. There it is. 3-1. Abderrazak Khairi scores twice. Abdelkrim Meri adds a third. Morocco top Group F of the 1986 World Cup. The first African nation, the first Arab nation, the first team from the global south in that era to advance out of their group as group winners. They meet West Germany in the round of 16. It's a war, a genuine, grinding battle. Morocco hold the Germans for 87 minutes. 87. And then a goal. Controversial, disputed, heartbreaking. Lothar Matthäus scores. Final score 1-0. Morocco are eliminated. But they had already made history that no one could take back. The 1990s. Close but not quite France. 94 sees Morocco return, but a brutal group stage. Losses to Belgium and Saudi Arabia sends them home early. France 1998 is different. Morocco win their last group game emphatically, 3-0 against Scotland, with Salahuddin Basir scoring twice and Mustafa Hadji, the artistic midfielder who dazzled European clubs in the late 90s, adding to his tournament tally. But goal difference condemns them. They finish third in the group, level on points, and go out. Then comes a desert. From 1998 to 2018, Morocco missed 3 consecutive World Cups. The 2002, 2006, and 2010 tournaments pass without them. 2018 in Russia is their return, but it is a difficult one. Group stage exits, a narrow defeat to Iran that still stings, a close battle with Spain that ends 2-2. It doesn't deliver the narrative the Moroccan public wants. And then comes 2022, and everything changes. Qatar 2022. The miracle of the Atlas Walid Regragui is appointed just weeks before the tournament begins. It's a gamble that becomes a masterstroke. Morocco draw their opening game with Croatia, the reigning silver medalists. 0-0. Disciplined, resilient. Then they beat Belgium, a golden generation in its twilight. 2-0. Romain Saïs heading in from a corner. Zakaria Abouklal finishing late. Belgium's tournament is over. Morocco top their group ahead of Croatia. They advance. Round of 16. Spain. One of the great tournaments of recent memory, a match of almost impossible tension. Morocco defend heroically. Spain have more of the ball, but Morocco absorb and absorb and absorb. After 120 minutes, 0-0, penalties. Bono, Morocco's goalkeeper, the former Sevilla #1, saves. Morocco win. Spain are out. Quarterfinal, Portugal. Ronaldo starts on the bench. Dropped, the decision that defined the moment. And in the 42nd minute, En-Nesyri rises. That header, that beautiful, gravity-defying header. 1-0. Morocco hold on. The phones come out. The mothers answer. Semifinal. France. The world champions. On a different night, in different circumstances, Morocco might have found a way through. They don't. 2-0 France, third place playoff. A narrow 2-1 loss to Croatia, but Morocco finished fourth at the 2022 World Cup. The best African nation in history. The best Arab nation in history. A generation of players who made an entire continent weep with pride. Section 5. Iconic players. Their World Cup moments. Ahmed Faras, the pioneer. Before we talk about the modern Atlas Lions, we have to acknowledge the man who helped build the foundation. Ahmed Faras is Morocco's all-time leading scorer, with over 40 international goals across a career that spanned the late 1960s into the 1970s. He was the face of Moroccan football before Morocco was even a World Cup team. A supremely elegant forward who played his football at Wydad Casablanca and became a symbol of what the national team could aspire to be. He led Morocco through the 1970 qualification, played in that historic World Cup debut, and remained the benchmark of Moroccan forward play for a generation. He's the grandfather of the modern program, even if his World Cup record was modest. Without Faras setting the standard in the dressing room and in the country's imagination, there is no 1986. There is no 2022. Abderrazak Khairi, the 1986 Hero Picture Guadalajara, Mexico, June 11, 1986. Morocco are playing Portugal in their final group game, having already drawn against England and Poland. They need a result to dream of topping the group. Abderrazak Khairi is a midfielder with electric feet and a nose for goal, and on that afternoon in Mexico, he becomes immortal. He scores in the 19th minute. He scores again in the 26th. 2 goals in 7 minutes against a solid European side. Abdelkrim Meri adds a third. 3-1. Final whistle. That night, Khairi is carried through the streets of Guadalajara by Moroccan fans who had made the journey across the Atlantic. He doesn't just win a group stage. He wins a place in the hearts of a nation forever. Mustafa Hadji, the artist of the 90s, the late 90s bring Mustafa Hadji, a playmaker of real distinction who made his name at Coventry City and Deportivo La Coruña. Technical, creative, infuriating, and brilliant in equal measure. In France, 1998, he is Morocco's heartbeat. He scores against Norway. He links play. He creates. He demands attention from every defender. What makes Hadji's story poignant is timing. He belongs to a Moroccan generation that was good enough, genuinely good enough, to challenge in the knockout rounds, but the draw and goal difference conspired against them. They go home from France 1998 on goal difference, having actually won their last group game 3-0. It's one of the great qualifying near misses, and Hadji wears that near miss beautifully. Achraf Hakimi, the modern colossus born in Madrid to Moroccan parents, raised in the Real Madrid Academy, played for Inter Milan, PSG, consistently ranked among the best right-backs in world football. Achraf Hakimi is the embodiment of the diaspora generation that transformed Moroccan football. At Qatar 2022, Hakimi was the player who drove from deep, who created danger, who terrified fullbacks with his combination of pace and technical precision. But his defining World Cup moment isn't a goal or an assist. It's a penalty. Against Spain, in the shootout, with Morocco's knockout destiny on the line, Hakimi steps up last. He has been playing for hours. The weight of an entire continent is on his 23-year-old shoulders. He takes the most audacious penalty you will ever see. A Panenka chip, dead center, perfectly placed, and the goalkeeper dives. The ball rolls into the net. The stadium loses its collective mind. Hakimi doesn't run. He doesn't scream. He turns, spreads his arms, and just smiles. That composure, that confidence, that style, that's Morocco in 2022 in a single moment. Youssef En-Nesyri, the man who flew. We've already talked about the header. Let me take you back into it slowly. December 10th, Morocco versus Portugal. Quarterfinal. 42nd minute. A long ball is played from deep. En-Nesyri makes his run. He begins his jump before the Portuguese defender even knows he's coming. He rises and rises and rises, and his timing is so perfect, his body so elevated, that when his forehead meets the ball, he is hanging above the Portuguese defender's head like he's attached to something invisible. The ball hits the net. The goalkeeper doesn't move. He can't. He's as stunned as everyone else. En-Nesyri's jump was later measured at 78 meters in height from the ground, the highest ever recorded at a World Cup. He didn't just score the greatest goal of Morocco's history. He gave Moroccan football its image, the image of a man reaching higher than anyone thought possible. That's the whole story, really, in one jump. What Morocco did in Qatar didn't just change African football, it changed the World Cup. For generations, the tournament had a clear hierarchy. Europe and South America at the top, everybody else grateful for the invitation. Morocco in 2022 didn't just challenge that hierarchy. They dismantled it. They beat Spain on penalties. They beat Portugal in the quarterfinals. They pushed France, the eventual runners-up, in a semifinal. A French side that beat Argentina in the final the following round. The team that stopped Morocco was that good. What they showed the world was that African football, given a coach who understood defensive structure, given European-raised players of real quality, given a team unit rather than a collection of individuals, could compete and win at the very highest level. The ripple effect has been enormous. Since 2022, African football has seen a surge in investment, interest, and confidence. CAF's profile has risen. Young players across Morocco and the African diaspora have grown up watching Hakimi and pointing at the television and saying, "That can be me." Morocco also has a unique relationship with the global Moroccan and wider African diaspora. The Moroccan community in France, In Belgium, in the Netherlands, in Spain, millions of people who carry two identities, found in this World Cup run something transcendent. It was a validation, a declaration, that the places where they came from, the cultures they carried with them, deserved to be on the highest stage. The fan scenes from Qatar became viral sensations. The celebrations in Brussels and Paris and Amsterdam after each Morocco victory were extraordinary. Dancing, flag waving, singing in streets at midnight. The emotional scale of it was unlike anything in recent World Cup memory. Hosting legacy, AFCON 2025. Morocco also understands how to stage football. In January 2026, they hosted the Africa Cup of Nations, their second time staging the Continental Championship, having previously hosted in 1988. Modern world-class facilities across Rabat, Casablanca, Marrakesh, Tangier, and Agadir. Record attendances, a tournament received with genuine warmth and organizational excellence. And Morocco won it. In front of their own fans, beating Senegal in the final. The symbolism of that, being both the host and the champion, is the kind of story that echoes through the decades. Morocco has also made a bid for the 2030 World Cup, co-hosting with Spain and Portugal, with South America for the centenary. That 2030 vision is about more than football. It's about positioning Morocco as the gateway between Africa, Europe, and the Arab world. A country that is simultaneously continental, transcontinental, and deeply proud of being all three. The kit, the anthem, the crowd. The Atlas Lions red shirts, that deep, saturated red that looks almost blood orange under floodlights, have become one of the most recognizable kits in international football. In Qatar, they wore a home shirt with intricate geometric patterns inspired by Amazigh, Berber, textile traditions. It was stunning, an artifact as much as a garment. The Moroccan national anthem, Hymne Cherifien, is a piece of music that carries genuine gravity, a melody that the players sing with their hands on their hearts and tears in their eyes. If you haven't watched Moroccan players singing the anthem before a match, do yourself a favor. Here is where Morocco stands as they prepare to step onto the MetLife Stadium turf on June 13th against Brazil. AFCON champions, World Cup semifinalists, perfect CAF qualification record. A head coach who has built one of the most tactically sophisticated sides on the planet from relatively modest resources. A squad packed with players who have won leagues, cups, and Champions Leagues at European clubs. And one more thing. Unfinished business. Fourth place in 2022 was extraordinary. It was history-making. But don't for a second think the Atlas Lions are satisfied with that. Walid Regragui said as much when the draw was made. Morocco aren't here to be a nice story again. They're here to go further. Their group is tough. Brazil is always tough, but it's not unwinnable. Morocco drew Brazil in a pre-tournament friendly in June 2026, holding them to 1-1. They know they can compete with Seleção. Scotland are a dangerous opponent, but a beatable one. Haiti are the group's underdog. If Morocco get out of this group, and the numbers suggest they will, they have the defensive solidity and transitional firepower to beat anyone on a given day. That is not hyperbole. That is what the 2022 World Cup proved. Watch Youssef En-Nesyri when the long balls come in. Watch Brahim Diaz when he drops into pockets between the lines. Watch Achraf Hakimi carrying from deep on the right side. And watch Walid Regragui on the touchline, composed, clear-eyed, entirely convinced of what his team is capable of. Morocco came to Qatar to prove something. They did. They came to Morocco to win AFCON on home soil. They did. Now they come to the United States with no more proving to do, just winning. What do you think? Can the Atlas Lions go all the way? Drop your prediction in the comments below. How far do Morocco go at the 2026 World Cup? If this episode brought you joy, and honestly, how could it not? Smash that like button, subscribe to Homeland, and come back for the next nation in the series. We've got 48 to cover, and every single one has a story worth telling. Al Atlas, always rising.